Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another SLG Meetup. Your host Alvaro to bring you another successful and interesting guest in the luxury space. Now for this, we're going to be flying all the way to Antarctica, which, in this amazing summer, what of a better way to refresh yourself than to talk about the Antarctica. And not just that, but we're going to have the founder and CEO, Patrick Woodhead of the company White Desert Antarctica. They offer some of the most unique luxurious experiences. In fact, they've been pioneering when it comes to luxury experiences in the Antarctica. And basically you go on a private jet charter all the way to the Antarctica, stay at one of their unique camps and get to enjoy a carbon neutral experience which will blow your mind. I mean, talk about redefining luxury. So excited about having Patrick with us today and to hear more about the story and all the incredible experiences that they're offering.
There he is, the man himself, Patrick. What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm in Cape Town and South Africa, and it's winter, but it's finally stopped raining. So being English, I'm kind of now allergic to the rain. So I came to Africa to try and avoid it, but it's caught up with me somehow.
Listen, you brought that UK to you, so you cannot escape that. But listen, Patrick, it's such a pleasure to have you here with us today, and how exciting it is to talk about what you guys are doing. I mean, White Desert Antarctica, pioneering in luxury in the Antarctica. What you guys are doing is something that is unheard of. And I just want to take this opportunity to take it on to you to tell us a little bit about what the company is and the story behind, because it's very incredible.
Thank you. Well, it started, wow, a long time ago. So I was 2004. We did an expedition where we skied 2,000 kilometers across Antarctica. So we did this world record breaking immense ski through the interior of Antarctica. Only 11 people had ever crossed Antarctica. So like more people had stood on the moon at that stage. And while it was a really tough expedition and a proper polar trip, what we really learned was the interior of Antarctica, the actual interior of the continent was incredibly beautiful. And you could go to Antarctica, but just on cruise ships. And so you could kind of touch the side of Antarctica just that little bit. But we love the interior. We love the deep interior. Now, here we are, 4 polar explorers, starving to death and freezing cold and all that. So we basically thought, okay, let's envisage the most beautiful luxury camp you can ever imagine. So in our heads, we had white linen and amazing food and wine and warmth and all this stuff. So we went through every single detail as a sort of wonderful, joyous exercise. And then over 18 years, we made that a reality. And we made these incredible camps into the interior of Antarctica. You can fly in on a Gulfstream private jet or on our Airbus. And then we've designed a space age Buzz Aldrin inspired camp or like an old school polar explorer camp. So yeah, we got a lot going on.
I mean, talking about blowing your mind away, what a beautiful story, and how amazing it is to see that all those dreams became a reality, and now more people got to experience that.
Yeah, in the old days, to get into the interior of Antarctica, you had to be either a scientist or a polar explorer. And we wanted to change that and have pretty much anyone could go. So, I mean, my children have been into Antarctica. We've had, as I said just before, Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut, come. He was 83, I think, when he came into Antarctica. Wow. So while it's really expensive to come where we are because the logistics are so crazy, it is accessible. Almost anybody could come from a physical point of view.
Mm-hmm. Right, that is one of its kind. This is something that it's redefining luxury, because every time that you think of like a luxury experience, you think of like, okay, you go on a nice cruise, you go on this and that, the good weather, this. But to go to the Antarctica in the conditions that you guys are offering it is just incredible. Now, I gotta tell you, I see this new camp, the Echo, right? Because us coming from a real estate background, I love anything that has to do with the real estate. And you guys have come up with this carbon neutral, like this unique type of luxurious camp. Tell us a little bit about the Echo and how it all came into reality, because it's not easy to put that out there.
So Echo was a big departure from our other camps, because the other camps they came from old polar explorer, brass, leather, chunky knitwear, fake fur, that kind of atmosphere. And when we were staring at some of the mountains just near the runway, they are 3 kilometers high of sheer rock, and they rise like spikes out of the ground. And it's so bizarre that a friend said, this looks like the surface of the moon. So we thought, okay, well, let's redesign this. Instead of going old world explorer, let's go totally futuristic. So we met with the designers for the camp, and everything is bespoke. So every single element of the camp was built here in Cape Town, often revolutionary stuff. And it's all forward looking. It's kind of like the Millennium Falcon fused with a boutique hotel. And we wanted it to be exactly that sort of space, like a home dome of a lunar camp, because that's what the landscape looks like. And the other big part about it is I wanted huge windows, because the windows are this sort of connection you have to the outside the whole time. So you can be in your bed, literally looking through these floor to ceiling windows with this incredible landscape in front of you. And you always feel connected with that landscape. And at the same time, inside the home dome, which is where we've got, like, we had fun with it. Like the shower room is called the decontamination zone. You know, the lounge is called the decompression chamber, you know, because it is like that. And everything is got this sort of, as I say, very modern Star Wars feel to it. And so it was just too much fun building the camp.
I gotta ask you, like, out of everything that you guys are putting together, right, from the experiences, the camp, what's the hardest thing? Because the logistics must be very difficult.
The logistics are crazy difficult, and then trying to do the logistics in a very responsible way from an environmental perspective is really difficult. So, you know, the challenges we face, we have to be able to dismantle every single thing in Antarctica. So when we build a camp, we can't have any foundations with concrete, because if we pack it up, we need to leave without a trace.
Right.
So we've got to design pods that can withstand the winter wind, which is when no one's in Antarctica and it's terrifyingly high winds. We have to do all of that, and we're not allowed to basically anchor into the ground using concrete. So we have all these challenges. I mean, a can of Coke is $38.6 for us to bring it to Witchaway Camp. So it's the most expensive can of Coke on earth. Our camp, when we fly to the South Pole, which has got 4 guys that hang out there on like a refueling depot for the plane. The nearest neighbor to those guys is the International Space Station, 400 kilometers above their heads. Those are their nearest neighbors. So we've got this crazy logistics that only could be in Antarctica. It's just insane.
Like, what does somebody expect out of this experience? How long does it take? What are some of the highlights of it?
Sure. So we like to take people into Antarctica for 7 to 8 days. And you can do a shorter trip, which is like a day trip into Antarctica for 3 hours. And you get to touch and see the real Antarctica, but it's 3 hours. And I think that's something like $16,000. For the main trip, which is where we take people to the lowest point on Earth, the geographic South Pole, this is still 2023, a really hard place to get to, where there is no more east, south, or west. You can walk around the planet in a couple of paces. You know, this is still a very hard place to get to. That's the main sort of signature part of our 7-day trip. And then on top of that, we also visit an incredible emperor penguin colony. So emperor penguins, as many people have seen March of the Penguins, we have 20-something thousand penguins there. They're completely unafraid of humans. They've never been hunted. And they are just beautiful animals. And what the chicks have done to survive that winter, and the adults, to this whole reproductive process, because they're the only penguins that stay in Antarctica during the winter. They've figured out a way to do it. And the trials and tribulations they have to go through. And then we see them early in the season because we can fly there. And it's kind of like the seminal wildlife event. It's like seeing the migration of the wildebeest in terms of, like, you know, just the very zenith of wildlife beauty and attraction. But there's also other stuff which is unique to where we are. Like, we go into these ice tunnels. They are 200 meters long of iridescent blue ice tunnels that you can't believe the colors you're seeing and how surreal it is. We do fun stuff like fat biking and zip lining, and we hike up these amazing nunataks. So the whole landscape is this incredible playground that we can enjoy and have fun in. But there's also serious stuff. Like we've got really serious, half of White Desert, we also do all the logistics for the science bases
Right.
down there, or many of the science bases. So actually, there's a huge interaction with our tourists learning about the science that goes on in Antarctica, learning about all these different drilling projects in terms of ice core sampling for our climate, to look at climate change research. There's all these cutting edge scientific programs that our clients get to learn about and understand about, and why Antarctica is important. So there's a whole, rather than just having fun, of which it is fun, there's a whole backstory about our clients being ambassadors for this in this incredible continent.
I wanted to ask you about something that, for all the dreamers out there, right? Because a lot of people have certain dreams and then they don't do nothing about it. You are someone that was doing an expedition, you were with your friends, came up with an idea, and you are living your dream. So what would you recommend or suggest to those that have those wild ideas going on in their brain to take that first step forward?
Well, I think it was Schiller who said, "Stay true to the dreams of thy youth." And I think that that's really important, that you keep those dreams and you act on them. And then, like anything that's worthwhile, it requires usually vast amounts of tenacity and hard work. And you must never give up, and you must go for it. And there's often risk and disappointment, and there's often times when you feel you can't go on. But that's part of achieving something really special. And there are so many dreams out there, and so many people need to act on them. So I think the one riding thing is to go for it. You have to put yourself out there, because critics are unimportant. It's not the critic that counts. No one cares what a critic thinks about. If people care about the people that are in the arena that are doing things. And that's the most important thing. So get into the arena and go do stuff.
Something that we always ask, and I know you touch a little bit about it, but the word luxury, right? It has so many different meanings, but what is it really for you?
You're asking a guy that voluntarily sleeps in a tent on ice in the middle of Antarctica and eats dehydrated food for a living. What is luxury? I don't know whether I'm best qualified to do that. I mean, people coin it as luxury is time, luxury is freedom, luxury is all these different things. I think that our guests and our clients these days are far more sophisticated in their version of luxury. And what I mean by that is that they can go to a 5-star resort and they can do all of that, and they can have the best Egyptian cotton sheets. That's all fine, but it's possible, and you can do that kind of anytime. I think that our version of what we offer in Antarctica as luxury is all the stuff we've been discussing, that disconnect, that sense of otherworldliness, that true sense of adventure and escape. Those are, luxury is defined by something that's unique and special, and makes you feel good, I guess. So I think that all of the things that we offer do exactly that, but in abundance.
Tick the box. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I love it. Look, I'm an adventurer myself, so anything that comes to combining luxury with uniqueness and this kind of experiences is just up my alley. So that's why it was such a pleasure to have you here today, to learn more about the story behind the brand and also to get to know you. So thank you again, Patrick. It's been a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure.
And
yeah, likewise.
Not sure if there's anything else that you would like to add to our listeners.
Not off the top of my head, but just hopefully they will come and see us in Antarctica, or at least come and learn about Antarctica and click on the videos and photos, because it is this. I'm just, after 20 years of going down there, it's still, every time I get off the plane, I kiss the ground. Every time I arrive in Antarctica, I feel that I'm somewhere very special. And it's usually this on the maps of the world, you just see the fingers of Antarctica sort of underneath on the sort of Mercator protection. And people don't really think about Antarctica much. And suddenly, by living and breathing and going there, it's dominated my life. And it's such a special place, and it's such a place that captures your imagination. So learn more about Antarctica, and I hope people come and visit us as well.
Well, you've heard it from the man himself, Patrick. Please go and follow them and check what they're doing, because it's very unique. And as Patrick said, something that is worth experiencing. So thanks again, Patrick. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully the rain will pass in Cape Town, and soon we'll be back in Antarctica.
Thank you.